Today on the Martial Arts Mindset podcast, I am joined by the amazing and fabulous Tyler Denny. Tyler, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you very much for joining me. We saw each other recently in Birmingham, in your hometown, and you just come off a great win. How are you doing since then?
Good. Just back in the gym, ticking over. It's waiting on another day to see what's happening.
Yeah, anything in the pipeline at the moment, or just waiting?
Nah, just waiting. Really, I've got to see what's going on. I think because Boxer had like the Eubank stuff and that everything, because that was straight after my fights. That kind of took over everything, which is understandable, really.
Mhm.
So maybe this week I'll find out a bit more, or next week.
Brilliant. Well, we'll be very excited to have you back in the ring once we know. And obviously, you're going to tell me first. I know you said
Yeah.
this. You said this off camera, of course. You've made me a promise. No, I'm joking. Um, so one of the things that I like to talk to people about is their journey internally and externally through the world of boxing, because boxing is a very special sport, and it takes a lot to be a boxer. It takes a lot to be on this crazy ride, even from early days of just getting in the ring for the first time. And one of the things that I've known to be true, and it's something that I ask people, is that there was normally a fight before the fight. So before the first time you ever put on a pair of gloves, there was normally something that guided you towards boxing. And whether that's an internal fight, whether that was an external fight, whether that was something that you wanted to prove within yourself. Um, tiny person.
Happening.
Would you say that's true to your story? Would you say that there was a fight before the fight?
Um, It was more of a fight of my mate just to stop doing my head in. 'Cause I used to just play football and he was into boxing and he's come down to boxing, come down to boxing. And for ages I put it off. And in the end, he was doing my head in that much that I went wrong. Do you know what I mean? So there was more to shut him up. And then once I went, I couldn't get enough once I started going. But I think I was 15 then. So a lot of people start a lot younger, don't they? But I've started at 15. And my first, well, I'll tell you what, I got I sparred after like, I don't know, a week against this guy. I was 15, he's probably about 30. And he beat me up, to be honest. And I was always thinking, I'm going to get him back. And then so I was going for like a couple of weeks, turned into months, just to get him back. That's my only goal. And then I got him back, and then he never wanted to spar me again. So, but then by the time I had the bug by then. So then I just carried on from there. But that's what got me into it.
I think that shows where your mindset was at and your mentality was at. Because some people, boxing's not easy. So if you have your ass handed to you in the first couple of weeks you're in the gym, a lot of people will just be like, I don't want to go back. And the fact that you were
Yeah,
like, I want to prove
I,
something here.
I'm too competitive, really. I think that's where my youngest from was just the competition. So I want to win. I don't like losing. Do you know what I mean? So, um, and that's been from the beginning. Like no matter what I do, I want to win whatever I'm doing. Whether my son there playing, I don't know, FIFA on the Xbox, like I'll never let him beat me ever. You know what I mean? So even if he scores a goal, he's deserved it because like he knows I've not let him. So yeah, I'm very competitive.
Do you find that competitive edge can be a hindrance sometimes, like the want to win so much?
Um, I don't think so. I think because I've got good coaches, it's not so much wanting to win, but sometimes you can probably overtrain because you might want to eat. I don't know if sometimes I have to tell myself I'm not lazy if I'm just tired or something. Like before, I used to think if I'm not doing so much and not doing this, like what I've worked out as well in between me and my coaches and whatever. Like, say you can have certain plans. I don't know for 8 weeks of camp. If you've done all these things, that we're going to do this after this week, this after, but sometimes it's not straightforward like that. So you might be tired, so you have to not do them things. Do you know what I mean? Whereas before, I'd still do them because I think I'm being lazy if I'm not. Do you know what I mean? But then you got to listen to your body, and I think over time, like my coaches probably know myself better than I do, so they'd say they'll roll you back in and then let you back out when you've had a bit of rest and recovery.
Yeah, well, because we know now more than ever that rest and recovery is such a huge part in the body replenishing, actually doing the best work. Because I'm sure that with that intensity and that drive to be the best at what you can do, you can think, well, I need to do more. And actually,
Yeah.
sometimes it's about doing less.
Yeah, definitely. Smarter, not harder. Yeah, I mean, you got to work smarter, not harder. But it takes a while to figure that out, doesn't it? And
Yeah.
it's trial and error. You never know what to do until you've done certain things and you think, oh, maybe I feel tired after doing that a bit too much or whatever. Like, because before I used to do like track work, then 10 rounds of sparring, then body bag the next day. And I mean, I still do other more things, but I try and space them out a bit really. You don't want to be hard every session because you just get left feeling like crap.
But as we know, like in the fight game, some of your the L's are the ones that you learn from the most. It's kind of the same with training. Like when you get overtired, when you get injured, when you realize the game plan's not working, it's all about evolution, right?
Yeah, definitely. And you got, like I say, you got things are going to happen, but it's what lessons you take from them. If you repeatedly do the same dumb things, you're going to get the same results, in you. So you've got to adapt certain things, adapt certain methods, and do what's best for you. Because I know I'm not lazy, and my coach knows I'm not lazy. So if I tell him I'm knackered sometimes before I even get to the gym, he might do something different. Don't get me wrong, we can all feel tired every day, like they're doing. So you're going to feel tired being a professional boxer. So there's tired, and then when your actual body's like that bad, that there's no point. Do you know what I mean? Just something easy, but I say easy, but you might learn doing more of a technical session instead of just pure graft. Do you know what I mean? Just work
Totally.
it out.
I think also lazy is only really a title that could be used if the performance you give in the ring shows a lack of effort. So
Yeah,
if you know that in your training you're giving the best that you can, including listening to your body when you're like, this could actually be quite detrimental. The only thing that really shows laziness, I mean, just from my perspective, is actually how you show up in the ring, right? Because you can take an L really well if you know that you've given everything you can in that camp. Would you agree?
yeah, definitely. I think the one fight I had, I fought Macaulay McGowan, and that's not taking nothing away from Macaulay McGowan, but I remember like 2 weeks before, I just felt dead, and I was thinking, bloody, I've got another 2 weeks left. But I think it's because I fought Brad Ray, I think in November, then I fought Brad Pauls in February, and then I fought Brad Macaulay McGowan in May, and then it's just back to back camps, and it's the training that done me really. Do you know what I mean? The fighting's the easy bit, but when you're doing like camp after camp after camp, I think that's what that kills you. That's why I think you see a lot of people fighting like 2 times a year and stuff now. Do you know what I mean? Instead of very much. But maybe that's what I've got to learn from before. Just I don't need to be doing like all that madness that I was doing all the time. Sometimes you do, but not every single day for 10 weeks. You know what I mean? But that's what I've learned from it.
But also, again, like you say, like you've figured that out as a more, like, you've had a good amount of fights now under your belt, so it means that you learned. Like there's always like a seasoning time, right? When you're in that young
Uh,
fresh air where you're like, I just want to fight as much as possible. I just want to get my name out there. I want to do the thing. I want to make it. Da, da, da. And then you start realizing that people know who you are and you're doing well. And actually, you're like, actually, if I want to get the next level, I've got to give a gap. I need to be able to let that
uh,
body replenish. And you know, camp boxing is one of the wildest sports because the things that a boxer has to go under and to experience to be at their elite is like no other sport in the world, that you have to be
yeah,
at your smallest but at your strongest, sometimes dehydrated, you know what I mean, like all of these things, but then got to go in and be at your best. When you actually think about that rationally, it's absolutely nuts.
it makes no sense because you're training more, but then eating less. There's no other thing that you'd train more and eat less. You'd eat more, wouldn't you? But then
Yeah.
you gotta make certain weights and stuff. So, but like I say, it's all about doing it right. Innit? You got a nutritionist on board, and the extra 1% can make a big difference.
Totally. And that's, I think, why it's so impressive, and that's why so few really ever do it and try it, because it's just that level, which shows that there's a really really strong resilience within you, a very strong mindset. Where do you think that comes from?
Yeah, I lost you then. Sorry.
That's all right.
What did you say? Strong against and ever.
Oh, I just said that you clearly have a strong mindset and a good resilience. Where do you think that comes from?
Um, I forgot to be born with. I just really want to win. Do you know what I mean? Like, never give up sort of attitude. Maybe because I never had nothing really growing up. I think no one's ever given me anything. Whatever I've got is because I've worked for. So that's what I try and instill in my kids as well now. And it's a bit easy now because maybe I've got more than my parents had before. So maybe I spoil them a bit then. And I still try and teach them though little certain things that you got to be grafting for stuff. Do you know what I mean? Um, and they all do something. Whether like I'm not bothered what they do. Like my son will play football and my daughter's a dance or swimming or whatever. But like they've got to do something. I'm not bothered about what they do, but they've got to do something. Keep them active and keep them wanting to improve and stuff. Whatever it's in, I support them. Whatever they want to do, but they've got to do something. There's a million things out there, so you can't tell me you don't like nothing. Do you know what I mean? Because sometimes they don't like nothing. They just want to play on Xbox or watch YouTube or something. But I'm not having none of it. You have to find something else, then if that's what you don't want to do.
So you feel like you were born with like a competitive edge. Do you feel like that you witnessed that? Can you see that in any of your kids, or do you feel like they don't have the same sort of um maybe energy you had at that age, or do you see that they do?
No, I think they do, to be honest, especially my son. But maybe I'm a bit hard on him sometimes because he's just turned 9, and sometimes I expect him like to have I don't know, a mentality of like I say a 30-year-old like, but he's a sore loser and stuff as well, like which I like within like a certain way. Do you know what I mean? But I don't know. He can win a football match, but because he's not scored, he's annoyed that he's missed a chance. And we're driving on the way home, and he's annoyed. And I was like, "What's the matter? You've won 3-0." I was like, "Yeah, but I've missed that chance." But it's good in a way because he wants to do better for himself. Do you know what I mean? Without being selfish, it's all about winning, not holding as well. It's a team game. It's different sport to boxing, but he just wants to improve, which I like. I like that side of him.
Do they understand what you do now? Because obviously I know the kids came to the Birmingham fight, which was really special. Do they get it?
Yeah, they do get it because they've had no choice but to get it. To be honest, because like I say, and I don't know, for camp for 8 to 10 weeks of they get put second place. To be honest, boxing has to come first, and that's just the way it is. Like I don't know, I say we'll go to the park or whatever, but when it comes to it, coach say we've got a sparring on this day now. I'll say we can't go, and then but I try and make something up to him afterwards, and I got a bit more time. Like now, I can do a lot more stuff. Really, still training, but then sometimes you're training 2, 3 times a day on less food. You can't be asked, you know what I mean? Which is sounds a bit nasty, but it's the truth, isn't it? It's about rest and recovery, and I have to put that as a premium.
No, I don't think it's nasty because I think it's, you obviously have a great relationship with your kids, and I think it's how you show up for them when you're there. And
Yeah,
it's not like you're not doing anything and then just being like, I don't want to spend time with you.
yeah.
It's I'm trying to go and build a better life for us and show you what can be done when you really assert yourself to something. So I think you're a great role model in that sense.
No, thank you. And like I say, whenever they achieve anything, I don't know if my daughter gets a certificate in swimming, my son gets man of the match, I give him little incentives, like, do you know what I mean? Where I don't know, if he gets man of the match, I give him a fiver. If he scores a goal, 2 quid. Do you know what I mean? I just, but he can play great, and if he don't score, I won't give him nothing. So, yeah, but hit the post 3 times. That's it, the post. Do you know what I mean? They count. Do you know what I mean? So, um, I just stick with the rules really with him. So, sometimes you can be close, but you that's how life is, isn't it? Sometimes you be close, but might not quite get it. So it's up to him to get it.
So then with that in mind, so one of the questions I always like to ask people is you said like you were born with like a competitive edge or whatever. And you also mentioned that you didn't have much growing up. So it made you go after things because you were like, anything that I'm going to get, I have to go after and get it myself. So how much of, and now obviously you're passing on the way that you view sport, the way that view fairness, the way that you understand that, you assert yourself, but you may still not win, all these things onto the kids. How much of it do you think is nature and how much of it do you think is nurture?
Um, that's a good one. That is. I think I think when you're about fairness as well, I think another thing that your kids have got to understand as well is life ain't fair, is it? Do you know what I mean? I'm sure we can relate to anything that you can try your hardest, and some things just come a lot more natural to some people, and just in life, I don't know. Some people could catch illnesses at a young age and stuff, and some people can mess around their whole life and live great. Do you know what I mean? So, but you've just got to put everything in. There's no excuse for lack of effort. That's what I don't mind. Like I don't mind if you like say if the kids try and don't succeed, but there's no excuse for lack of effort. That's what I try and drill into to my kids. That's what my coaches have drilled into me. Um, yeah, I don't think they have to really drill it into me because maybe it's more calm down with the effort. Do you know what I mean? But the big lack of effort, there's no excuses for me, and I can't feel sorry for anyone who don't get what they want if they're not willing to put the work in.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Um, what would you say has been your favorite moment so far?
Um, either beating Brad Ray for the English, I think, because I was a big underdog for that, but I did enjoy the Felix Cash one as well. To be fair, because we had a bit of like he pushed me in the way in and stuff as well. So that was sweet. That was beating him. Yeah, But saying that as well, when I beat Signani for the European at Wolverhampton, that was great as well. The atmosphere was unreal. I'd say one of them three. Without probably the Brad Way moment. I know it's only for the English compared to the European belts, but I was away in Manchester as well. He was from Manchester, so and think I was 5-1 on the bookies, and not many people give me a chance. So that was I mean, I want just to prove people wrong as well. That to give me a bit more of a kick.
I think also it shows again that the biggest accolades, like the biggest result, isn't always the best moment. Like it can be something that just makes you
Nah,
feel like unreal.
yeah, definitely. Like I say, on paper, you'd say the other ones, wouldn't you? So you're not looking at the all, taking into context everything else. But like, to be on that show, and I think Ricky Hatton was making a comeback after that as well. Like I say, it was good atmosphere.
Amazing.
Um, and it's just a great day. It's a moment I remember forever, really. And um, I think I won the English against River Wilson Bent, and then Brad Ray was signed with Boxer then. So I think they made that fight, Boxer did, and obviously I've been with Boxer now, but I don't really think they wanted me to win. Do you know what I mean? Let's be honest. So it was nice to say, like, I've beat your guy now. They had to sign me up then. So,
Yeah.
um, but to be honest, like, it's mad boxing because I like Brad Ray as well. Know, like, he was in the prime. I always had respect for him, but we drop each other messages there and then. He's moved up from middleweight all the way to light heavy, and he's fighting for European against Shaq Peters, who I get on with as well, local guy. So that'd be a good fight.
But I think that's something that like I really believe that it doesn't need to be bad vibes with people. I understand that when you're going into the ring, you need to shift into a particular space because you're about to go and hurt the other person. So you have to create a sense of disconnect that they're not someone you can't care about them in that moment. You have to care about yourself and you're winning, right? I understand that. But what I find really difficult is the kind of the levels of disrespect that people will go to on the lead up to a fight to like sell it. So you saying about you getting pushed and then getting the win, it's like that's really good retribution for why you shouldn't be disrespectful. And like there's a couple of like there's been some face-offs recently that I just really respect because people are just shaking hands or smiling at each other or just having a little minute together of like I see you and you see me and we're going to do this together and then we're going to walk away and be friends after. Like what's your take on all of it? Now by the way, I do understand that people do like drama, people like to sell a fight, and I'm not like wholly against it if it's just like a heated moment, but I don't like all the fake drama. That's kind of my perspective. What's your thoughts?
Yeah. But listen, if it's real and there's proper hatred or animosity there, then and I'm all for it. But it's slow when people just do it for views and fakeness, and I'm not interested at all. That's why me personally, I've got no interest in like the misfits sort of style and everything. I get it, I get why people are doing it and stuff, but even like the press conferences, you just see him pop up, and it's just that like scripted and stuff. It's not my cup of tea. Do you know what I mean? For instance, I know you got like Dave Allen there, Johnny Fisher, and yeah, tomorrow, and they've got a lot of respect for each other. But when the bell goes, they're going to punch the living daylights out of each other tomorrow. So that's what I like to see, that sort of level. And I'm sure they'll shake hands and carry on the day after. Do you know what I mean? But I think if the fight's good enough, you don't really need to make no extra drama, do you? Do you know what
I
I mean?
agree. I fully agree. I was at the presser for Fisher and Allen on Wednesday, and it was quite funny. I had a laugh with Eddie afterwards because I was like, you were really trying to like stir the pot and get them to like, and he was just like, yeah, I was, but because I'm a promoter, it's what I do. He said, but I've learned with these two that you're not going to get them to say something
Yeah.
that they don't want to say. He was like, they're not going to speak ill of each other. They respect each other. They're going to go and do the job, but they shook hands at the at the face off today, and then they'll go on and kick the shit out of each other, and then they'll carry on with their lives.
Yeah. And that's what I like to see. To it, like I said, when it's genuine, when there is like a bit of bad blood, like I think, with Eubank Ben, there's
Yeah.
a bit of there, which you can tell when it's genuine. Do you know what I mean? Which I don't mind on that. I'm all up for it, but none of this fake stuff or just bringing personal stuff up into it for no reason. Like that doesn't interest me, man.
No, I agree. And I think I'm seeing a wave of like more boxers just being like, I'm going to be myself because actually personality is selling more than drama is. So when you've got like
Yeah,
a good character, good funny, like people like you, like they're going to get behind you because of that, not because you've, flipped a table or something. So I think there should be more of that because it's a sport of gladiators. You guys are so respected of what you're doing because so few people will do it. So it should show across the board, right? That's kind of my thoughts anyway.
yeah, definitely. Especially like the flipping the table. I think some people can maybe get away with it, like your Chizoras and stuff, but then the only danger thing was that I don't know, people who ain't got like nothing in them would start doing it just because they've seen some other people do it. It just gets a bit, it's a bit cringe, isn't it? Some of it, like, do you know what I mean? And I just think, nah, it's not for me.
I think also when you look at who might watch boxing and the people that might want to start boxing. So you look at like young kids or whatever who might want to get into the gyms, or even teenagers who might be watching boxing, but they might be a bit troubled and they don't understand that it's a game that somebody's selling. So when there's a misconception, obviously, that boxing is just really violent. Now, obviously, yes, it's a hurt sport. People get hurt, but there's a beautiful art to it that so many people won't see if they've never put on their own pair of gloves. And that doesn't mean you have to fight. You can learn the technique and understand that it's an art form. Because even when you start breaking it down from the beginning, people start realizing very, very fast how hard it is to actually create what you guys create in the ring. And so for somebody to observe what you do in the ring and see that as violent and then see the outside thing and be like, oh, to do that, I've got to be like that. It creates I feel like it creates the whole wrong narrative when actually the respect part, I think, is the best thing for it. It brings it back to almost like a primal state where
Yeah.
like men used to fight to be the leader of the pack. You know what I mean? They used to just like, you'd have the hierarchy, you'd have the guy at the top. And I'm only speaking of this through men because it's a different hierarchy with women, but you'd have the guy who'd like run everything. And then if somebody wanted to come in and run everything, they'd just fight that guy. And then if they win, then they take over and it'd be like, okay, cool. You're the leader now.
Well, that's the way it should be. But unfortunately, I think with social media and stuff, a bit of bad or some unnecessary stuff will take headlines over like someone being respectful, and they get more views on someone saying something. I mean, I don't get back to it again, but the Misfits, do you remember when Wayne Bridge was going to fight KSI and then he started talking about his ex-missus with whoever, like, do you know what I mean? But then that gets loads of views and stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
for the wrong reasons, really. But unfortunately, in the world we live in, then bad things will travel faster than someone being respected. Now, when I say, no one will say, send the video out of Dave Allen and Johnny Fisher being respectful of each other,
It's true.
will they? Yeah, I mean, that's just the way it is. No one said that to mate. What you said was
Yeah.
boring, but if someone, I don't know, even like I don't mind it to be. I thought it's quite funny, but even though when Eubank put the egg round Conor Ben, do you know what I mean? That went viral. So it's the world we live in, isn't it?
I know. It is. And it's just, I find it interesting to talk about because I like hearing what people actually think about it. Because I've always been very like, no, but boxing is real. Why are we ruining it with scandal? I don't get it. Um, what do you think has been the toughest moment for you on your journey?
Um, probably probably the COVID part, to be honest, because I was coming off a loss to Eudorfia and had to wait for like a year and a half then, and it's just waiting and nothing was happening. I was still full time working. That bit was tough, to be honest. And then finally, I had a fight against Dirk Azazi, and he was 10 at the time, and that's where my whole life changed because I think I don't know, like 6 weeks before that, well, it was like a month when I got it. My sponsor said to me, "That's an hard fight. You need to have a month off work." And then, so he paid for me to have a month off work, and then I won that fight. He's like, "Wow, it was great. You need to do that again. You need to have a year off work." I was like, "Yeah, I can't have a year off work." And that's my work. They said no, and he said, "Quit your job, and I'll look after you." Like that was so. From then, do you know what I mean? I swear it's mad because like the hardest part was followed by the best part. Really, you have to just stick at it. I feel like I got my rewards for sticking at it because it was tough at the time.
Well done. That's amazing. What do you think got you through that COVID time?
I don't know. I just wanted to. I think it's going to happen again, and I just feel like because there was still some boxing on, weren't they? But I wasn't involved in them, and they put people in the bubbles and stuff like so. And I was thinking I want to be a part of this, so you had to try and do half stay on it. But then luckily, for like if you had a fight coming up or something, you could train. Everything was a bit low key. And I'm sure some people are still training. You're able to leave the house and all that crap. But yeah, so to get into gym, and that was the only thing that was going on, to be honest. You know what I mean? I felt like in a luxury position to be able to train, really, and some people couldn't do nothing, and gyms were shut, and that. But boxing gyms were still open because that was your job. Do you know what I mean? If you had a fight coming, you had to train. So I had nothing else better to do, if I'm being honest. And it just worked out well. I just stayed on it, and then I got my opportunity eventually.
Yeah, but I mean, you say like it's simple and stuff, but actually you could have given up because there was a time when actually there was no sport, there was no nothing. It kind of shut down, and
Yeah,
then it sort of started to eke out. But you could have given up altogether. There was obviously something in you. It was like, if I just keep going with this, it'll be all right.
Yeah, and I think it's just taking each day at a time. Yeah, because if I looked at it at the time and thinking, if someone had told me, like, I don't know, before, just after my last fight, just before lockdown, I'm not going to fight for 18 months, I probably would have given up. But like, you don't know. Then do you, like, in your head, you start thinking, oh, maybe I'll fight next month and next month. But I don't know, so I have to try and stay on it. But if I would actually probably knew at the time, then maybe I think, oh, I don't know. But nobody knew what was going on, did they? So I said to keep training, keep trying to stay ready for whenever the opportunity comes. And take day by day, because like I said, if they told me ages, I'd have to train for a year and a half and have no fights, no money coming in, no nothing, then I probably wouldn't have done it. So yeah, but take it day by day, and it worked out in the end. So thank God I stayed on it.
Yeah, well done you. I mean, what are your thoughts? Obviously, we've had a few, like a couple of really cool fights recently, big fights recently. You were obviously on the card for some doing your own really great fight. It was a brilliant fight and it was a great card. And then we obviously had Eubank Ben after. And then we've got Fisher Allen this weekend. And then obviously Usyk Dubois has been announced. We've also got Wardley versus
Funny,
thank you.
uni, yeah,
Huni. Yeah,
yeah.
like what Huni, honey. So what are your thoughts about everything? So you went Ben, like obviously give me your thoughts on what you thought of you went Ben, which I think was kind of a universal feeling after that fight for everyone. And then give me your predictions for what we got coming up.
You bet, Ben. Great fight, and it is unreal. But it's better than I thought. And I don't know, the moment when Senior turned up in the car and that, like, I think that's like one of the most iconic moments of anything. I mean, I've watched it back a million times. I've watched the ring walks back a million times. Conor Ben and Eubanks ring walk, it was great. But I'm just me personally. It was a tough fight, but I'm glad Eubank won. Um,
How come?
I don't know. I don't know Conor Ben, but I the the foul drug test thing never sit right with me. And him, I don't get it. How you can fail a drug test, but you can go and fight in America, but then you're banned in the UK and stuff. It doesn't make no sense. And the way they kept building it, two weight divisions, but he had two fights at 154 as well before the Eubank fight. The thing with the hydration clause and everything, like, don't get me wrong, I don't feel sorry for no one because they've agreed it and he was happy to do it. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, for me, especially with the failed drug test thing, I don't know the all ins and outs, but I know all I'm saying. If I failed a drug test, I wouldn't have been able to fight. Do you know what I mean? Same with Liam Cameron. He got done, didn't he? He got banned for 4 years. Do you know what I mean? So that was nice for him to see him come back and stuff. But if you can get the right lawyers and everything that everyone seems to get now, you can half get away with it.
I mean,
So that's that.
just on this one, because somebody mentioned this on a podcast the other day, and I thought it was an interesting take. Why do you think Eubank gives Connor such a hard time, but he doesn't give Canelo the same hard time?
Um, Maybe he would want to if he had a fight lined up with him. Do you
That's
know
what
what I mean?
he's hoping for, isn't he? He'd like to
Yeah,
fight Canelo.
I think it'd probably be the same sort of thing. But it's a bit awkward in it because where do you stop when if that was the case, you'd give a lot of fighters a hard time, wouldn't you?
But that's my
So I
point.
think,
That's kind of my point.
yeah, now I get it. I do get that, but he's not fighting other guys, is he? I think he used to fight then. I think it'd be the same sort of thing. I'm not sure. You'd have to ask him, but it's a bit sad, really, when you think about the amount of top fighters that have failed tests, and it's even more sad that like I never got tested till I think my first test was when I fought for an English title, and it wasn't even the first couple of times. It was like the third time I fought for the English title, or whatever. Like so, how much cheating is going on? Do you know what I mean? I get it; it's an expensive game, and I don't know. There's doctors involved on people's teams, isn't there, to help them come off the cycle just in time for stuff. Like I don't know, man. It's a bit scary to be honest, isn't it? It's a bit scary.
Well, I mean, all you got to do is look at
But yeah,
Conor McGregor and how many people are like, no, Conor McGregor's not on steroids because he's never tested positive. I'm like, have you seen the guy? He's
yeah,
like 8 times the size of what he was when he was competing, and that is not just like that's not easy to do, especially when
uh,
you're going past your peak in testosterone. But that's a whole other discussion for a whole other time. Um, what
yeah.
what are your predictions for Fisher Allen this weekend? What are your predictions for Usyk Dubois? What are your predictions for Wardley? Honey.
Fisher Allen. It's a tough one. It's a good one. maybe Fisher, but I'm not confident at all. It's like I don't know. Maybe he learned to. It depends how much he's learned from that last fight. If
That feels
once,
to be the
but I think,
consensus.
yeah, do you know what I mean? But I did think Dave won the first fight, so
I did too.
maybe if he won the first fight, maybe Dave then actually, if he's beat him and he's gonna really believe he can beat him, yeah, I'm gonna change my mind. I'm going with Dave Allen, but there's no confidence in that whatsoever. But as you can tell, like, you know what I mean? But I'm going for Dave Allen. With Usyk, Dubois, I'll give for Usyk because they just no one's beat him, have they? I don't think no one's really come close to beating him. Unless you want to look at the Dubois last one, who was that? Low blow, was it? No, I don't know. But I think what people seem to forget is, and this is just my opinion, I think if the ref started counting, nobody knows if Usyk would have got up. Do you know what I mean? With that punch, it's different when you can have as much time as you want. You're probably going to take as much time as you want. He might have got up if he might not have. I don't know. Who
Yeah,
knows?
true.
But I'm going to pick you. I can't I find it too hard to pick against him.
Me
And
too.
with the Wardley fight, I don't know. I don't know either. I'd pick Wardley. I don't know much about the other guy, but I've got a guy who comes to our gym showing that he's big into the amateurs, and he was telling me how much that guy reckons the other guy beat Wardley. So we'll see. But I ain't got an opinion because I'd like to pretend that I've studied him and stuff, but I don't know nothing about him.
That's
So
fair.
I'm gonna pick Wardley. I'm
Yeah.
gonna pick Wardley. Just that the Fraser Clark second one is a dangerous guy, isn't he?
Yeah. Yeah. Geez, that was ruthless. That was tough to watch.
Yeah.
Very
But
tough to
saying
watch.
that, their first fight between them two is one of my favourite fights. You mean you could watch it and repeat 10 times over and not get bored, couldn't you?
Yeah.
So it just gets to when one punch can change it all.
Yeah, it really can, especially in the heavier divisions as well, because it just
Yeah,
it could, and that's the thing, the thing that I feel about Dubois is like Dubois will never outbox Usyk, but he could knock him
no,
down. So it's like
yeah,
that's the only way he would win is if he got a shot that took him out and he didn't get back up.
yeah,
That's the only way you're winning against Usyk.
yeah. And he's getting older every time, innit? Because it's been a while since, but I don't know. He still looked really fit, didn't he, in his last three fights? So I can't. I don't think he'd be scared of Dubois either. Is it? The guy's at war in his own country and stuff. So going into a boxing ring is that's all fun and games, isn't it? When you got people dying, but your own country.
Yeah,
So
he's fought in the front line, so I can't imagine like
yeah,
for him going up against Dubois is just like going to have a cuddle with a horse. Like it's just like you might get a little bit scraped, you might get a little kick, but you're good.
yeah. I mean, yeah. But Dubois was a big guy though, a big guy. But like I say, you 6 foot, plenty of big guys, and you look your Joshua's and your Furies and stuff. And for me, he's won them all, so I can never back against him.
Yeah, he's a very cool character. I get on very well with Caroline Dubois. I've met her obviously quite a few times on the circuit, and I look at her and I'm just like, never on God's green earth would I want to fight her on any.
No,
I wouldn't even want to spar her for fun. I look at her arms and I'm like, nope. So it's like that must be like the male equivalent with Dubois. Just people looking at her like, you're a large human being. Like you are a strong, large man.
I like Caroline as well. I was at a last fight at the Albert Hall. Like she's very spiteful as well, isn't she? Um, but I think Lauren Price was unreal on that day as well. I think that was a good show for the women as well. That show was so
Yeah, it was really
fair play
good.
to him.
It was like
Harris as well.
Yeah.
Carris is a great player as well. I don't think she quite gets the credit she deserves. Carris, she's one of my favourites. She is.
Yeah, there's some really good talent on the scene that I feel like needs more exposure. Even Shannon Ryan, who's fighting this Saturday, I think she's another like
Yeah,
powerful woman. I think she can do some really great things in the sport, but she just hasn't had enough of the exposure yet.
I think a big one as well. And like everyone come back from a loss, but Emma Dolan beat her, didn't she? When it was
Mm.
on the cash one, and I think Emma Dolan was the underdog then. Um, and then she beat Shannon Ryan. So it's good though. Like competitive fights. There's going to be winners and losers, isn't they? Do you know what I mean? So no, I just say you get back on and you go again.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the game. The game is the game is the game, and it shows
Yeah,
the resilience of the self and the are you ready and able to evolve past your hardest moments. That's kind of it's part of this game, and that's when you can really get the winners and the elite kind of mentality through. Is like it's not actually how you handle your wins, it's how you handle your losses, and that loss might not be a loss in the ring. It might be a loss in life. It might be difficulties you go through. It might be issues you have with your family. It doesn't always mean the fight isn't just the one in the ring, it's the one that you carry with you as you step into the ring.
Definitely. That's why you got respect to Bros in because not many people thought he could get to the stage where he got to after like the Joe Joyce ones and stuff, did they? So big respect to him.
Yeah.
Fair play to him, and he carried on, and he's got to the top of the top, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you had no limitations, no, you didn't have to take like the steps, whatever, whatever. If you could do anything, what would you like to achieve?
In boxing.
Yeah, sky's the limit. And you can throw in some, life as well.
Um, the thing is, I think because in my weight category, the middleweights as well, I think like the big names have gone really. Like say, like 5 years ago, it was all 5, 6 years. Canelo and Golovkin, and there was just massive, huge names. Now, do you know what I mean? And you look at the world champions now, the names are not there. So I think for like just like a great fight sort of moment, it'd probably pick like a Eubank or something. I could fight Eubank. That'd be great, really. I'd rather probably fight Eubank than fight for a world title because it's just a much bigger fight. Do you know what I mean? And I don't know for aims now. I've got to readjust really because my whole aim was to move out and buy a bigger house, and I've done that now. So I need to readjust and just move on. But I've done the biggest fights out there for the biggest money. If I'm being honest, do you know what I mean? I've got 4 kids. I need to just get as much money as I can. I'm 33 now, 34 in July. So you never know. You never know, and every fight could be your last fight. Do you know what I mean? Depending on how it goes. So I was going to put everything into training, every little bit I can do, and what will be.
Amazing. Listen, Tyler, I've really enjoyed catching up with you today. It's been really cool to just hear your thoughts and opinions. And I feel like you're a great example of the fighter mentality, the fighter mindset, the adaptation, the resilience, and showing what you can do if you just stick at something and just continue to push yourself past those difficult moments and all of that. So thank you for sharing your time and your thoughts with me. I'll be obviously waiting for that phone call when you get your news because I'll be the first person you call to be like, Rachel, this is what I'm doing. But I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens next for you, and hopefully I'll be there cheering you on and get to catch up with you again then.
Yeah, definitely. And if you're here before me, you tell me, okay,
I
what's
will
going on
do.
with my foot news?
I will do.
Some
I'll
people
take.
tell me before, do you know what I mean? So, no, I just crack on and get to the gym, and I seem to find out the internet before I know. So who knows?
Brilliant. Well, as soon as I know, I'll text you. Be like, did you know? Did you know this is happening in your
Yeah.
life? Brilliant. Well, look, go and enjoy the sunshine. Have a great time with your family. It's been lovely to catch up, and we'll speak again soon. Okay.
That's fine. Thank you. Thanks for
Thanks,
having me on.
Tyler.